אנו נמצאים בכנס איגוד המתכננים הפיננסיים. איתי נמצא קרג ריבס. Hello, Craig.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Today's conference is about enabling investors for other assets of investment. Can you please talk about it?
Yes, clearly bond yields in many parts of the world are negative or zero, and a hunt for yield is clearly an important thing that many investors are looking for. At the same time, many equity markets look very expensive, and so increasingly investors are looking to diversify their portfolios away from traditional equities and traditional bond type investments. So alternatives often provide that low correlation but consistent positive return.
And you will describe it as the main challenges for investors these days?
It's identifying the risks. Clearly, there are risks in alternative investments, which investors need to be aware of. They're not for everybody, so they are typically for more experienced investors. But equally, increasingly, they're adding value in portfolios. So the identification of the risk is clearly a big part. But clearly, the wider world has many risks in terms of equities and bonds and so forth. The US equity market is very expensive. In fact, almost 2 years ago, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, said that equities are richly priced. So they've gone up another 15 or 16% since then. So clearly that's an increasing risk on the horizon. But
Got to the peak.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. So people are looking at ways to diversify their risk, and clearly what we do and what groups like us do is increasingly fill that void and that space.
People say that investing in loans are the missing link in asset allocation and asset class investments. Can you elaborate about it?
Yeah, sure. Certainly, loans, direct lending, private debts, private credit is becoming an increasingly interesting space. It's attracting an increasing number of institutional investors. If you take the UK as an example, the UK now has some of the largest non-bank lending groups, the peer-to-peer lenders and the direct lending groups. But if you look at it from another perspective, just from the UK, for example, there is now a £1 trillion pension fund deficit in the UK. And increasingly, pension funds are looking for ways to fill that gap. And it's not just by being more overweight in equities. You've got a situation where many equity markets haven't performed until very recently for a very long time. And at the same time, you've got negative interest rates and negative bond yields or zero bond yields in many, many places. So that compounded has had a very detrimental effect to the value of many pensions. So private debt, private credit, direct lending type strategies are increasingly becoming the missing link. They're not the solution, they're a solution to a very wider problem.
Okay, so many challenges ahead, but many opportunities as well. Thank you, Mr. Reeves.
Thank you.